All right. Live. We're live again. We're live again. I'm going to try to do a lot more of this so you guys can see my workflow, pick up on some tricks. Little shameless plug, I'm not going to be putting this on my usual social channels on Facebook. This is just going to stay within the Rabbit Design feed, so I don't have any problem telling you this. I do offer a number of different training services, so if you're picking up a lot of cool stuff just from these short videos, imagine what we can do with some one-on-one time or even group setting. I train full offices all the time. I do production drafting where I record what I'm doing at about a 80% speed clip, so you can go review what I did, but also push your project forward. And this is fun for me. I like doing this. I like giving back to the community. So I'm hoping you guys are chiming in on this stuff, seeing, getting some good takeaways. And this is live right now. This is unedited. I don't have a script. This is just me picking up my headset, putting it on, and jumping right in. So you're going to see me doing, in these feeds, you're going to see me with some errors. You're going to see me doing my usual goofy thing. I have fun while I work, so I'm goofy. I'm listening to music right now. That's a lot of fun for me. And I just get into my zone and start doing things. This feed, let's jump right into it. What we're doing in this feed is let's just say we've got a project. It's at its deadline. We're at that, oh shoot moment. We got to get this project out right now. And we can't have just one single individual push this out. There's not enough time in the day. We don't have someone skilled enough, or there's just simply too much of a workload to get this thing to a deliverable where our deadline's tomorrow. So what do you want to do? Well, you want to do what we can do in some of these other softwares where we can work on the same file live at the same time and have those edits be committed. Well, we can't do that in Chief. We don't have that ability in Chief. It's not built into the software. But there may be a few things we can do in order to group task some things on one project and then bring them together in a timely fashion, so that if we are on that deadline pace, right, we've got to get it out tomorrow, and we've got teams that could work on it, but we can't work on it at the same time. Maybe there's a method. Let's take a look at it. Let's see what I can come up with. So here you go. I've got an as-built plan sitting in front of us, and we're just taking a look. And here's my first thought is, we've already kind of, in one of my previous videos, we kind of went over bringing in a canvas scan, bringing it from one plan into a template plan. And that works. There's methods for that work. So it's along that same thought process. Can we designate an area that one team member is going to work on, and then an area that someone else is going to work on, and then bring those two together after the work is complete into one main plan file? And I think that's a possibility. So let's give this as a for instance. Say we've got a designer that's already tasked with redesigning the master bedroom, closet, and bathroom over here on this far wing of this particular project. If you're familiar with plan view, hopefully you are if you're in this software. We're looking at a master bedroom off of a wing here. Let's just call it the east wing here. And so we've got one team member. They're going to be working exclusively in this area. Now you could split this up into multiple plan files and leave it as such and then bring them into layout. But then if we're modifying fenestration, we don't have true elevations. We've got problems with that. It doesn't carry over. So then you've got a bunch of versioning complications there. I don't really love that method. So especially if we've got things that are designed where they have to kind of coincide, right? So we do ultimately want one plan, one master plan. So what we're going to do is we're going to get together. We're going to talk about our area of work where team member one's going to work on this wing. And I know that, and that's what they're going to work on. That's fine. They can go off to their desk and start working on it right now. Let's get to it. I, being team member 2, am going to work on this kitchen. I'm going to work on this kitchen design, and I know that I'm going to do some structural modifications, so there's a complication there that we have to consider. And I want to work on this and then bring this back into the master plan. Maybe there's a team number 3 that actually can work live from the master plan. I'm not sure how that pans out, so we'd have to try that. Maybe that's in another video session. So here's the thought process is, here I am, I'm in the master plan. I want to take some things from this master plan, but I do not want to edit anything. Or if I do edit anything, I'm not going to save it because I want this to be an untouched master plan. So here's what I'm going to do is, I'm in a contained selection mode, okay, which means that my selection marquee, only selects what is contained within that marquee, okay? And I want to make sure that, a big problem with Chief is we're on a room structure basis here. We're not dealing with, erecting walls. We are dealing with a room by room, level by level software. So I want to fully contain rooms in a selection marquee so that I can take them into another plan, okay? And I need to make sure I'm doing a couple things correctly. So let's just start this. I have not practiced this. This is coming off of the cuff, so we'll see where we end up and see how well this works. Now I can see here, because my template plans by default in my working plan view as opposed to my floor plan view, where floor plan, this is the first story, this is a 2-story project, there's a second story. I have different layer sets for different for the walls, right? The representation of the walls is different in my different save plan views associated with different layer sets. So here we go. I'm going to switch back to my working plan view, and it's very clear in my working plan view where my wall containments are, okay? And I think we just activated Siri. Sorry if you guys hear that. Anyways, I need to make sure that in my selection marquee that I'm selecting fully contained walls, which means I can't select just this short section and get everything in the kitchen involved here. I need to come out here, make a selection way out here, get this whole section. Now I could just use a contain selection mode, right? And we're going to pick up a lot of maybe extra stuff that I don't want. All I really need is the walls. That's it. That's all I want. So I'm going to make a restrictively selected contain selection by clicking on the wall tool and then holding my shift button, making a selection marquee, and selecting all these walls. Now, this interior wall here, you're going to see here, I'm going to keep this selection marquee right where it's at. You can see it's highlighted in pink, and let go of my mouse. And there we go. It's kind of highlighting the walls that have been selected. You can see here that we did not select one dividing wall. And you know what? Let's leave it at this. In fact, we didn't select a couple of different walls that we're going to need. All right, so I made a mistake, but let's see how that mistake pans out. I'm going to hit Control N, start a new plan, and this is important. This is super, super important. If this is to work, I need to make sure I'm pasting hold position, which is in our edit menu, and then when we get into paste hold position, which it'll tell you right there, Control Alt V by default. So Control Alt V, what did I get? Well, I didn't get much of anything, did I? Apparently, my selection didn't match. So let's try this again. I'm going to hit Control C to copy, Control Alt V. There we go. So you can see here where we've got some errors, right? And also, you can also see that this template plan seems to have some new setups for those wall types. So a couple things changed there. Let's get back in here. Here's what I missed. I didn't fully contain this wall over here. Okay, I did not fully contain this wall. Oops, just selected a door. This wall, and this wall. Okay, so I'm going to Control C, copy those, and I can use that same method, Control Alt V, paste, hold position. Now that I have those walls in place, look what I've got. I've got a selection marquee. Now I'm going to choose some additional walls just because I know that this dividing wall to the dining room, we're going to take this down. It's a non-bearing, well actually, you know what, it is bearing. Look at this, it's a center bearing. So we're going to have some structural modifications on this particular project. I'm going to do that same thing. I've got walls selected, shift select marquee, grab all these. It does not matter that I just selected several walls that I had already copied and pasted, because it's just, Chief is just going to override because they exist in the same XY coordinates. So Control Alt V, now we have two fully contained rooms, right? And here's what I'm going to do, and this is a really simple concept. Now, I didn't necessarily need to grab these walls, and I'll show you what I mean here in just a minute. But it is nice that I have the walls. It feels like a good representation of what's happening on in this project. And then also when I go and bring it into the new project, the edits that I make are going to translate that much better. So, and I'll show you what I'm talking about right now. So here we go. I'm off of the main plan file. I'm no longer working in it. What I'm working in is a new file. That's it. And my intention here is to let's just do a mock-up kitchen. We're going to make it super quick because this is uninteresting maybe. You'll see some of my quick tools that I use, and yes, I do sell this stuff, so you can inquire about some of this stuff if you see some tools that are just you have to have. But place this, pop our dishwasher in there. Maybe we've got a, let's bring this in 6 inches and turn this into a garbage can unit. And not too interesting what I'm doing here. popping these in place. Maybe we've got a full height unit on the other side. We don't need to see that I can build a kitchen, do we? I don't think we do. So let's just keep it at what we've got here. The next thing I want to do is I'm going to remove this wall. And choose your best method for how you show demolition. So that might be another phase of this where someone's working on an as-built plan versus the new plan. That's fine. But for this particular instance, I'm just going to delete this wall completely. So there we go. We've removed that wall. And therein lies one of the problems we're going to have. So the ultimate goal here is I'm making edits that are going to save and then copy and paste hold position back into the main plan, which means that things that we delete don't translate, right? So there's a huge note that we have to know about that, right? So it's not so seamless that we get to just paste hold position, walk away from it, right? We do have to come back and come back and edit and come back to this stuff, and then also do a little bit of deletion, right? So anything we're removing from the plan, there's the issue. So here we go. I've created a little, well, here, let's put some overhangs on it. Why not? We've got an overhang. We've got some benches, this kind of stuff. Maybe you're designing out to this level, right? Maybe we're actually bringing in some fixtures, some appliances, some furnishings, all this kind of thing. I know that this particular bay window setup I wanted to get rid of, and we wanted to replace it with a window. So there's going to be an edit here where we drop in a big picture window here, and off center maybe we're expanding it 2 feet on either side, or 1.5 feet, something like that. And that's a picture window. So here we go. We've done our basic edits in our kitchen, right? We've made some changes, and in fact I think I even wanted to add a wall in. Maybe I wanted to push this wall out a couple feet, which I can do. I think I wanted to recess this wall out a couple feet. We were going to build in a big niche on this whole thing. So let's see what happens when we take these elements that we've changed now and bring them into the new plan. Now we know we changed this outside wall, and here is where you gotta stay organized, and maybe you're dropping in notes as you go so that you have, you know, a reference to the things that you're doing. Like my particular template plans have a red line, and in my red line I can drop, you know, by default I'm dropping a note. Remember to grab this, right? I want to drop in this note and it's carry this over or something like that. Who knows, whatever. It doesn't matter, but it's going to show up in my red line list, and then I know that I need to make sure I make this selection when I'm making my overall selections to bring this forward. Now here's something I can do. I can just edit area, grab this whole thing. We've seen us do this before in other videos. Edit area, all floors. Here's one problem with this is we're on the first floor. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter that we're on the first floor in this plan, but it's the second floor of this as-built. No, it doesn't. Luckily, Chief will do paste hold position. I guess the intention there was that if you needed to copy something from a first floor, paste it on a second floor, you can and hold that position. So it's nice. It's kind of a reference level, right? So we've got that edit area, and then I can make a marquee selection, hit my copy, bring it over to this as-built, and paste hold position. So a couple things we notice. And we've seen this error in a previous video I showed where it's telling us that the default floor elevation of this plan that we are in right now, it's indicating that there's a difference between this plan's floor elevation and the one that we just grabbed. So because we had a contained room that we copied and brought over, it was giving us that additional information, like floor structure might be wrong, that the floor elevation might be wrong. So let's see what happened to that kitchen when we did this, okay? And it's going to tell us default ceiling elevation's wrong. Now, a couple things to note. We're seeing already that those cabinets didn't carry over. What happened to them, right? Well, let's try to go discover them. I actually don't know. Look what happened. It did, in fact, paste on the first floor. So, and look what else happened. It pasted on the first floor and copied from the first floor. So it didn't translate exactly how we wanted to. So let's go back. Let's hit it backwards on this. Let's just insert a new floor. Simple enough. Simple solve, right? Insert new floor. Now another method of doing this is we could have actually just opened our main plan file. The only danger with that is it's really hard to differentiate between the things that you've changed and the things that you needed to touch and the things that you didn't need to touch, and then you've got some potential for user error that could be disastrous if you got things wrong. So derive new floor from second floor plan, sure. Now I've inserted a floor. So now when I edit area, you know what I'm going to do? This time, edit area, not all floors, just edit area, just edit area. There we go. I'm not grabbing anything from the floor below. So I'm copying this, Control C, and then on my second level floor, Control Alt V. There we go. Now we have some edits that can be committed, and I was working on a separate plan, not the main plan, and the only thing that we know that we needed to do was delete this wall. Now we've got some other discrepancy here too, like we're running into a few issues, right? Where we also know that we needed to delete this. Oops, let's just go out and figure this out. We know that we needed to delete these three wall sections here. I need to grab the wall tool, restrictively contain selection, all those exterior walls there. And then what exactly happened to the window? Like, why did it get placed that high? Well, there you go. It's because we had some different structure in here that Chief was trying to, copy and paste into. And I'll tell you exactly what it was. The bay window had a different floor height. So this new picture window was taking into account the adjacent room's floor height. So its head height became off, right? So here we go. We've pasted this in. Now let's go take a look at this other red line one and pull a camera in here and see where our differences lie. And in fact, yes, we had a different roof structure in the new, and that's fine. That's what we wanted. But other than that, we are essentially creating edits in one file, bringing them over to the next. So just to go backwards on this, right? Here we go. We've got a main file. We've got a team. We've got a team that can work on this main file all together. We know that we moved this wall back too, by the way. And then that team goes and works on their separate entities, right? There are separate parts of this. Now you have to kind of coordinate what team member gets to come in back to the main file and drop in their edits. And now I've dropped in my edits, but say, okay, this got me so far, and someone's reviewing it, right? We've got another team member. This is all hypothetical. We've got another team member. We're reviewing this project now. And we're seeing we've got a few problems. We need to fix this window. We need to fix this. Well, that team member can either fix it on the fly because he's got authority to work on that main file, or we can go back. We can go back to this temp file and start doing more edits here. And I want to say that the limitations here are really coming in when we come into like structural changes. But if you've got your envelopes, you've got your structure in place, your as-built is true, there's no edits needed for the as-built, and you're coming in and you want new edits, right? And say that they're anything except for, well, you could do roof lines. You could carry in roof lines. You could carefully delete the old roof lines, update with the new. So there's a method here. There's a method here where we can get a team working on the same project, same time. Let's look at another method. Control new, whole new plan file, okay? I want to turn on my reference display layer. And that's it here. Reference display. Underneath tools, floor reference display, or the F9 key. I believe that's default, F9 key. Next thing I want to do is I want to change that reference. Okay, so usually I think the change floor reference is going to be up in your top toolbars and the default toolbars. Mine's off to the right. I'm going to click on that, and here's what I'm going to do is I'm going to locate that file. I'm going to locate that master file. Maybe we should call it master file and make it easier, right? Locate that master file. I do not want to use my reference display layer set because that particular layer set has locked layers. I want to have something that has no locked layers. I happen to know that my floor plan dimensioned layer set has no lock layers. I'm going to go ahead and leave that on. I could do this a couple of different ways. I could do it this way. Here we go. And I need to make sure that I'm on the right floor. Match current floor, Untitled 6. I'm on the first floor. That's kind of a good reminder. Let's insert a new floor. Make sure we've got another one. Yep, just like that. It's just going to be a blank floor. I don't really care about the designation of ceiling heights unless you need to bring that forward. And in which case, maybe it's just simpler to work on a duplicate plan file. But you really have to be careful about your naming conventions. And we can take a look at mine again. I've showed these a bunch of times, but we can always look at it some more because I really stand behind them. So here we go. We're on our second floor. Now, I'm in a blank plan right now. If you've never discovered all the capabilities of using a reference display, it's pretty out there. You can get a lot done with this. So I'm in an absolutely blank plan. If we turn on the reference off the reference display layer, you see that plan disappears. We're referencing another plan. And here's what's kind of cool about this is, let's go delete these cabinets. Does it live update? That's a good question, right? Let's just keep practicing this. We're going to select our cabinet and then shift marquee, and then that selects all of our cabinets, right? Same thing, if you have a fixture symbol that's a custom fixture symbol in your library, or you know a fixture that's in your that's in your toolbars, you can select a fixture. There we go. I selected a stool fixture, shift marquee select. Now I can delete all those. Simple, right? Let's go look at this untitled working plan. Look what happened. That's live updating. We're updating that live, okay? So if someone's working, let's see. I wonder if that works across machines. I actually don't know. I would love it if one of you guys discovered this. I don't have enough machines at my disposal right now. I'm on the run. It's Christmas. I'm hanging out with the folks. So I don't have access to multiple machines, but I would love it if you went out there and tried to discover whether or not this works. Is a reference display live if you have it open on maybe a network drive? How does that work? I don't think it could be. I think it's because it's open on my machine that it's going to live update. I don't think it will work across. There's no way it's working across the network because chief file locks. So we talked our way out of that. It's only doing live updating because I have it open actively on the same machine. Okay, so here we go. What can I do with this? What can I do with this? What can I do in this situation? Well, I know already that we're not going to have bumps, which means that if I grab this and drag it towards that wall, it's not going to stop at a wall, nor is it going to stop at this side wall, right? So we know that drafting in this way does not allow us to have bumps, which means that that cabinet, if we were to draw this in this space, right? If we grabbed a lower cabinet and we dropped it against this wall, it's going to bump, meaning that it automatically stops when I draw that cursor past the wall a little ways. It's going to bump to that wall, which makes it really easy to place, right? So it's way easier to place in an active plan. But it is powerful to know that you can use this as a reference, and there are some snaps available to us. So it is pretty easy to just take a snap here and populate it to, well, I just did it to the framing layer, so if I popped it out 1/2 inch, that would be snapped to our drywall layer. Kind of interesting, right? It's kind of a strange thing. I have a video, it's an old video somewhere on YouTube. It's like 3 years old, and I show you when they first came out with reference displays, being able to reference other floors and or other plans. I show you a way you can do an as-built and then tie in new construction and have your material lists and everything completely separate. It's a bit complicated to set up, but it's very doable because Chief does give you access to some of these snaps. So kind of a crazy method, but it's just to know that it's out there. And I would leave it up to your creativity to see how this maybe plays, right? So something that is interesting about this is if we were to go and take our, well, do I still get a Control-Alt-V? Yeah, we do. Look at that. So I've got a contained area here. Check this out. Let's pull a 3D view. Okay, we've got a 3D view, and I mean the roof planes are uninteresting, right? Let's just delete all roof planes, and it's gonna make us turn off auto roofs. Yes, turn off auto roofs. Done. Get them out of here. Okay, that's fine. What happens now if we turn on a reference display in 3D, right? If you've never tried this before, it's kind of fun. Not gonna lie, it's kind of fun, but you're actually not turning on a reference display layer. You are changing a floor reference. So you don't need to turn on the reference display in this case. So again, Wells AB, camera view layer set. We could do glasshouse or standard. Let's just show, well, this illustrates proof of concept, right? Glasshouse illustrates that. So here we go. And maybe we can turn, I don't think we can turn a line overweight on, so we might need to change the method. And we can't change the method through there. We got to do it through our display options. So our define is where our transparency lies. Maybe we want more transparency. Maybe that's easier to see. Oh, I went the wrong way, didn't I? Let's make it super transparent. There we go. There we go. So now it's showing that main master plan and then my edits and a visual representation. And if you're like me, I've been fighting for the last, I don't know, I want to call it a year, to try and learn how to draft in 3D and 3D only. And there's some caveats to it, and there's some limitations, and there's some frustrations there, but it is possible. So, and it's fun to see this in a reference, right? Like now, all of a sudden, this whole process is kind of making sense, right? I'm just editing this part of the project, and I'm going to bring it back into the main file. So now we can have 4 or 5 team members working on one major big house, all doing their own edits. Maybe someone's working on annotation edits and layout. Maybe someone's working on elevation details. You can do all of that, I think. Let's see. Can we grab a camera with elevation details and bring it forward? That seems a little bit challenging. I kind of feel like we can't. I got to remember my classifications here. Can we actually save a camera, copy and paste it? I don't think we can. So here we go. We're in our untitled. So this is going to see that picture window because we did in fact bring something forward, right? So now this should show up in our project browser. So what are we in? We're in untitled 6 in our, oh, we are in cameras. No, we're not. Where am I at? I'm missing it. We are in untitled 6 cameras. Maybe it's, oh, I know why. I made this mistake before. You guys got to catch me on this. Save active view. Here we go. Now we've got this elevation 1. Okay. What options do we have? We right click on it. We've got edit view. We've got duplicate. We've got close view. There's no way to drag some element from one plan across the project browser to another element in another plan across the project browser. Too bad. Sounds like it would be pretty cool. What other options do we have? Can we select this and copy paste it? Well, look at that. Here we go. We've got a copy, right? So what happens if we come back to our main working plan? Here we go. Back it out. Control-Alt-V. Check that out. So here's the big question. Let's delete that. Yeah. We're going to delete it. So here's where structure comes into play. We do, in fact, need to make sure that the structure of this project is the same as the structure of the other project if we're going to make an edit like this. So let's close these out. They're kind of uninteresting now. Let's go about taking from a master plan, updating just the master plan, and making sure that we designate it as I think we just had a power surge, so you might have lost the feed for just a second. So, okay. So here we go. I want to make sure that this is saved as something else. Okay. So we're going to just call this, well, here's my naming convention, by the way. And you can see this is a big project. This is a long, ongoing project. It started back in beginning of November. We're into late December now. And we've gone through several different design versions, iterations, and we have not hit construction documents yet. So we're building out of the AB plan, and maybe I want to bring this in and call it today's date. And it's going to be kitchen edit or something like that. You know, whatever your, and I mean, I would obviously keep the design iteration and version intact. Okay, here we go. Kitchen edit, and here's the next part is if I am a part of a team, we need to make sure that we've got our tags, appropriate tags here. So here we go. RR is working on, this is the kitchen edit plan. It's going to update the master plan. Okay. And is it interesting to change the name of this? This is one of the very few times where I don't think I really care if the plan name is changed. Typically, I would tell you, do not, never, ever change your plan name across all of your versions. Just keep it the same. You're going to have a much nicer life in Chief Architect. Trust me. I don't think I care right now. I think I can name it whatever the heck I wanted to, except for weird characters, I suppose. There we go. So there's my goofy plan, and it's really easy to notate that at the top. Let's open that original plan, this Wells AB plan. By the way, just to pull that last conversation full circle, at the start of every project, I'm going to establish my CA for Chief Architect. Here's my versioning. When I want to work on a new edit, I'm going to copy the entire folder forward, and then I'm going to change the name of the folder only. And then the only thing that is contained within those folders, this is the same name across all these folders. It's the exact same name. It never changes. Okay? The only thing that changes is the containing folder's name. It's a great way of doing things. No redundancy here, especially in a team building, which we're doing right now. Right? So here we go. We're in our edit RR, and I want to open up a second. Oh, we did. We've got Wells AB. We've got Wells AB, and then we've got this goofy plan that we're working on. Okay? This is the new plan where I'm editing and updating. Now, these two plans, one was created from the other, so the structure is intact. All the elevations are true, so now we can pull a wall elevation, and let's go ahead and annotate this, right? So, look at that, we've got my construction lines by default show up in interior wall elevations. Let's fix that, Chief. Kitchen and bath elevation set. Oh, that's on me then. I needed to turn that off in Aldo, or object properties. Here we go. So, use my dimensioning tool. I'm in the half-inch cabinets. Maybe you want to get into a windows and doors one. Does that pick up window and door? Not on the interior side. So there we go. Picks up that window. Sure. So in here, now I've annotated this. And this just kind of proves the point, right? So we've got an annotation. Now as soon as we annotated something here, this changed from being an orthographic camera to having a CAD overlay. And I'll explain what I mean here in just a second. And there's only one way that I can even show you this, and it requires that you own a 3D connection mouse. So let me close this window out. And we're going to save it. We'll save it. I don't even care what it's named at this point. But let's go back in here, and I'm going to just give you an example of what I mean. This elevation is actually an orthographic camera. In fact, actually, let's go back out one more time. Let me demonstrate that in a couple different ways. So this is a perspective overview, right? But if I get into my 3D menu, and actually this is on your default toolbars, we can get in and do a orthographic full overview, okay? Orthographic full overview. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my 3D mouse, and I'm going to navigate into infinity, and it's not even going to let me do it. And why is that? It's going to be problematic because it's just difficult to navigate an ortho camera. So I'm kind of not illustrating the point at all. But here's what I can do, is I can actually edit this camera in place. So if I use the Edit Active View tool, and underneath the camera panel, I'm going to change a couple things. One is, if I just type in 0, it's going to automatically default to 10. There we go. Clip surfaces within 24 inches. Yes, we could do that and basically make a cross-section view. I mean, we could clip it within 10 feet and make a cross-section view. I'm not sure how far the camera is from our subject here. We want to be at a 90-degree angle. Height above floor, maybe we're 60 inches. Does it matter? Not really. Let's take a look at what this does. Look what I did. If I just use my mouse wheel and back out, that's an elevation. That's exactly what an elevation camera is. It's an ortho view. You want me to prove it? Let me close this out. Control W. Let me get back into here. We'll open up this camera. Oh, excuse me. Open up this wall elevation. Okay. Not by that. There we go. And let's see how I do this. I'm going to move my 3D mouse, and at the same time I'm going to drag my regular mouse. Look at what I'm doing here. That proves it. A cross-section elevation is in fact just an ortho camera, and you can see here the dimensions are just an overlay. So any kind of annotations you're doing in a section view are creating a CAD overlay. It's kind of, there's a little bit of a projection here, but not really if you're really getting into the classification of things. The thing I want to do in all of these feeds is give you the concepts behind how Chief is made so that you have a better grasp on the tools available to you and how they work. And then maybe you can open your mind to new possibilities on how you can manipulate this software in the most efficient way possible. We want to use only the softwares given to us in the most efficient way possible to create a workflow where everything is utilized to its maximum and most efficient potential. So here we go. We've got annotations over and elevation. Now that we know that, what are we going to test? We're going to test to see if we open this if we copy this camera do the annotations carry forward to our master plan, considering that this is the master plan? So Control-Alt-V, let's open it up and see what happens. It does exactly what Chief is supposed to do. Check this out. What it did was grab, it produced point markers, which if you're unfamiliar, if you've ever created a point-to-point dimension string, those points are arbitrary, meaning that Chief doesn't actually know what it's snapping to, but it does know that it wants to maintain these dimensions. And because it had nothing to snap to, no inference, nothing to reference, right, then it's going to create point markers. So here's kind of the pros and cons of this is, one, we're not going to be doing any kind of dimension annotations in a slave set. Well, maybe that's the wrong word. Sorry, I'm woke. Let me bring that back. We're not going to do any annotations that are dimension based in a subset of the master file. Okay, so which means that's off the table. So there's a limitation, right? Unless we're going to be okay with these point markers. I hate point markers. It introduces error in your plan, and it could be very costly errors. So not a good idea. So ultimately, we do want to do our dimension annotations on the master plan. And there you go. Finding the holes in this process are a great way of discovering how to manage the process. So already, here's what I know. I've got a team. We're all going to be working on the same plan, but different. Oh man, I got to turn these notifications off. Sorry about that. We're all going to be working on the same plan, but we know that the annotations, the dimensional annotations, need to be on the master plan, which means a couple of things. The kitchen, for instance, let's see, can we bring forward annotations on the kitchen? Let's try it out. So here we go. We've got a couple kitchen cabinets. Let me just switch to my cabinet default here. They're going to be a much bigger dimension string. My manual tool, grab these couple dimensions. Yes, we're going to turn that on, blah, blah, blah. Not the typical dimension string I use on this plan, but that's fine. I have the dimensions selected. I have the cabinets are going to be selected. There we go. Control selected those. And bring them over to our master plan. Control-Alt-V, paste in place. What happened there? Oh, I missed the copy again. Let's try the copy again. Okay, Control-Alt-V, paste in place. There they're brought forward. What happened to the dimension string? Dimension string didn't make it. Okay, so we do see the limitation here is ultimately the end annotations, we need to account for that before the deliverable lands. So when you're structuring your timeline on this, and this is an oh shoot moment, right? All hands on deck, everybody got to get this plan out of the door. We could either split it up into a bunch of different plans and annotate our individual plans and bring that into one layout, but I feel like that's more work bringing everything into the layout that way. Whereas we can already have views pre-sent to layout in this method. Actually, we can in the other method too, but there's some caveats there. Maybe we discover that later. So we know that our ultimate plan here is we got to get our kitchen done, we got to get our bath done, whatever edits we're getting done, and then everybody's got to have their time to upload their versions into the master plan so that the master plan has conformed to the new design, and then we have to budget time to go in and do our dimensional annotations. I do think that there are definitely the settings in place for you to do your edits on a cross-section view in terms of text and annotation, so long as you're not snapping to something that will not snap on the new plan, right? So this test text, which is not snapping to anything, can be brought forward. So let's close this elevation. This is the Wells AB. So let's send this backwards. We're gonna copy it from Wells AB right here. So make sure that the copy is there. And let's delete this guy. Yeah. Control-Alt-V, paste in place. Let's open it up, see what we got. Oh, geez. Keep hitting the wrong keys. So that didn't pull forward. Let me double check that we had that right. So let's see. We are in Wells AB. We're going to open this cross-section. Cross-section view. Oh, well, that text didn't show up here either. Let's try that one more time. Let's commit this text. Got a text. Bringing this over. Test, yes. We're going to shut this cross-section view. W. Yep, it is saved. Let's double check that it's saved. Why not? It is. And then copy it. Let's close this guy out. Come in here. And maybe I should have deleted this beforehand, because does this break our copy? Let me see. Let's just make sure. Let's just get this copy done right. So here it is, copy. And let's open them up. Okay, so we can annotate with text. So we can have all of our text annotations and elevation, all that can be prepped. So you can have someone coming in, doing the kitchen, doing all the annotations in text, bring that forward to the master plan, and then update our dimensions. And if you followed some of my other videos, there's some really fast way to do dimensions. So as long as you've got a bunch of different dimensions defaults set up, and this drop down, handy little drop down window. There we go. So a couple methods there. I'd love to see someone put this into practice. And yes, I kind of feel like you have to practice this before you just, hit that moment where you absolutely need to implement this. So what's our time mark? Time of the video is. You know what? I'm going to go into Facebook real quick. Let's just drop Facebook in here. You're going to see my face, duplicated a million times or something like that. And what are we going to do? Let's comment. Let's draw a comment. So time marker. Now let's edit some symbols. Okay, so next up, let's get off that topic. I'm on a little bit of overload on that topic. Hopefully we got some ideas there, learned a few things there. This is a live feed, so I'm not going to relink to other videos I've created. I'll let you guys just kind of go discover them. I've got a really weird mix of videos on YouTube, and they have no direction, but enjoy them. So let's close some things out, and I'm going to work in a new section here. And actually, I just closed that Facebook window, and I'm hoping it's still working. Don't save. Don't save. So give me one more minute. I just want to make sure that we still have our feed up and that I'm not talking to air, because that's not fun. Okay, still shows me live. That's good. We see a blank screen. Yep. All right, so I'm going to open up a new file here, and this is for a fantastic designer I work with, Melissa Nunez. Sorry, I name dropped you. It's good. It's good PR, I swear. Let's see. What's our plan? Let's go look for this. This is. She's got a really nice, organized deal here, and I think I am on Lori. Plans CA. Okay. Now, what did I do wrong? I just did something way wrong. What are we doing here? Come on. Let's stick to our own setup here. So I'm going to make a copy of this. She's got a little bit different naming convention. I like to conform my name. I like to force my naming convention onto everybody because it works so well. Trust me. So we're just going to copy paste this. Oh, I did want to go over one more thing before we get into too much symbol editing, which is how do you download material files, guys? How do you transfer material files when you're working on a project together? Right? Do you have a joint location where they're located? Right? Across my machines, there's one location for all of my material files, and that's really easy to find. And all my material files always work. But when you're sharing with another designer, what do you do? What's your method? Do you do a backup? Do you do a backup where you zip all the externally referenced files, like the material files? I have another method for you, and we can take a look at it, see how well it works. I don't know that I've proven that it works really well, but I feel like it does. I feel like it does. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to stay with her naming convention. Even though it's wrong, Mel. And a Lori new file. Now you can see here that she actually did back up all those materials. But there is another method, and I'll show you it right now. Over here on my toolbars, I have this little button, Plan Materials. But I'm going to show you where that exists. I believe it's in 3D, Materials, plan materials. And what does that bring forward? Everything that's in this plan right now, this active plan, you can see here it looks like I'm missing some files already, but in this active plan, these are all the material files in this active plan, okay? And here's what I can do that's kind of cool. Now I'm not going to copy all these, but I do want to demonstrate the concept so that you know that I could copy every one of these plan files to my library by shift selecting. Look at that. So I've shift selected this. I could go down here, shift select everything, just so you know. But I'm not going to do that. That's too time consuming. We'll shift select these right here. And I'm going to click add to library. Again, we went to 3D, plan materials. No, 3D materials, plan materials is the submenu. Add to library. Look what happens. It starts populating my library. That's clever. Okay. What of this? What importance does this serve? Not a whole lot yet, but now we'll create a folder. And what is this project? Lori. Okay, Lori materials. Check this out. Check how easy this seems to be. And you have to check on your end if this works. In concept, this should work. And here we go. We're back to that storyline of conceptually, I know how Chief works for the most part, to the extent that in my mind, conceptually, there's no way this shouldn't work. The way this works is if I want to export these items, Chief is going to collect those resources and convert these files into Calibs files, which means that when you install, it's going to bring those textures forward. It's actually going to put those textures in a particular folder in your data folder. So good info right there. So all I would do then is right click on this, export library. I'm going to name that library Lori Materials. And then there you go. Click save. You're done. It exports. You make sure that you drop it into that same folder that you're sharing with your client, and they get to install it on their side. They get to install it on their side and then work on the plan file. Here's the beauty of this system. When you're done with this project, delete that. Get rid of it. Who cares about it? Because guess what? You already exported it, and it exists in the plan folder that you're working from, so that if you needed to go back and make edits to that particular plan, be it in the archive or whatever, you just install that material file again. You install that Calibs file. So I'm going to empty trash, get that out of my way. We're going to do some symbol modifications. The main question here was, is there a simple way to edit our hardware so that we can resize these? Well, here's what it is. We've got a bunch of different bar pulls here, and we want to be able to resize them based on the cabinet, meaning that we're going to have different size bar pulls for different cabinets, right? And we've got a couple different orientations here too. We've got, side-to-side orientation, top-to-bottom orientation. I don't have a brilliant way to tackle this. I gotta say, I kind of feel like I'm a little bit, like I could work harder at this and figure out a better method. But the immediate method is that I'm going to create kind of a large library here of different size bar pulls in different orientations. It's not the greatest solution. There's a couple other things that we're going to address here as well, is that look at where this bar pull is ending up. And why is that? Because this particular door, the front face of the Y plane, is where this hardware is going to mount. And so how do we adjust for that? How do we fix that? And so there's a couple issues here, and you can really get sucked into a time sap here addressing all these if you need perfection. So if you guys chime into this, if you guys watching this video have a better solution, I'm all ears. I'm all for it. I just know kind of what I know as far as symbol modifications goes. So I actually don't know what this particular bar pull is, and we can kind of it would be nice if we limit our library based on that and filter, but I don't have any filters in place that can filter for this particular pull. So I could just search in pull. That would be probably the most obvious thing. And maybe I want to look for the folder icon. If you're unfamiliar with some advanced library filters and searching, for this particular case, I don't want to pick the individual pull. I want to make sure that I'm just pulling from the library. So with that being the case, I could add a couple filters. One of the filters could just be that, and mind you, when you make a filter, select the catalogs that you wish to hide in the library browser. So I'm going to create a new one here, and we're going to say core only. Core only. So select the catalogs that you wish to hide in the library browser. So I'm going to select all these, all the manufacturer catalogs, all the bonus catalogs. And do I really need to look through? I don't need to get too specific here. We're just going to stick this with core only as a general filter. And then we just bring this drop down to core only. And then we're going to get limited to only the core catalogs and our user catalog. I do have a workaround for that. It's not worth the time. So you are going to get some pulls that are from my library, which is like the CP01 bar pull. And then it's a matter of, yes, I can drag through all of these, or I can know that she just pulled from this one right there. Oh, excuse me. Show in browser. There we go. We got immediately to that cabinet hardware. Here's our pulls. Is it a bail and ring pull? No, it's a bar pull. Now we can click on this and kind of identify what she's got going on here. It actually doesn't look like this is from the core catalog, does it? Where'd you get this from? Well, let's open it up and see if we've got an, maybe she overrode some. Yes. So this is not a default cabinet. I will show you how to edit all cabinets at the same time if they're defaults. But right now we're not using the default, which is kind of a bummer. So long pull, vertical, what is this? Let's see, drawer handle, long pull, horizontal short. So now we can do that search, long pull, and core only limits us too much. We're not finding it. Okay, so she's got some bonus catalog clicked in here that she's getting this from. Oof, that's no fun. I could create this from just, well, might as well. We'll see all the weird, wacky solutions I've got, because sometimes you're bringing in stuff from like 3D Warehouse. Check this out. Let's just do a control new. This seems very inefficient, but we'll do it anyways. Let's grab this cabinet, which is locked in their electrical layer. Working plan view. Okay. Let's grab this cabinet, paste hold. Let's do a big overview camera of this. And see nothing. Alright, let's not do an overview camera. Let's just do a regular camera so we're really pinpointing this guy. Alright, he's right in front of us now. There we go. And let's see, do I have any quick tools that'll make this thing easier to deal with? Probably not. Yeah, I mean, let's make this a slab door. Here's what we're doing. We're deleting surface. It's a terrible time to show this as an example. It's awfully, awfully inefficient, but let's just do it. We'll delete the molding, so at least that's a little bit easier. We'll go into our front section here, specify 0 shelves, so that part's a little easier. Yes, we can even go into our back and say that this is none, and our left and say that there's none, and our right and say that there's none. And box construction can be 0 and no top, no bottom. And now we've finally gotten down to just the door and this handle so that I can use the delete surface tool, spend a bunch of time wasted just to get whatever goofy handle you picked up from who knows where. I bet you it's in the bonus catalog somewhere. Someone out there probably knows. Here we go. That's all I needed to do, and then tools, symbol, convert to symbol. It's hardware, right? Hardware. Maybe, do we have a designation for, yeah, no, it's just hardware. Add to library, show advanced, mouse pull. And default. Okay, there we, oh, I forgot to delete the back face, guys. Why didn't you tell me? Wasn't that goofy? I could have left it and then brought it back in and then deleted the back face, but let's just do this over again. So yeah, you could use the delete surface tool. I show this in another video where I get pretty kind of advanced with that delete surface tool. It comes in handy every once in a while if you really don't feel like dragging stuff out to like a SketchUp or Blender or something like that. Mel's pull. Mel's ball. Yep, add to library. There we go. There she goes. Now, there's probably some edits that we need to do here. Like I could sit here and really commit that to memory what the XYZ plane is to make sure that every time I do this that I make my edits before the fact as opposed to after the fact, but man, that seems like a lot of wasted brain space to try to remember XYZ coordinates. So I'd rather just do a guess and check. I don't know why this is taking a long time to close. Just give us a second. Nice little breather. Oh, what do you guys? Oh, we just had a chief crash. Look at that. Dang it. All right, let's bring it back up. Get back in the mix. Did we lose our feed? I think we lost our feed. Anybody know if we lost our feed? Hey, sorry if we did. Let me double check this. Are we still live? Are we still live? I'm getting a lot of freezing. Freezing. Uh-oh. I lost some stuff here. What's happening? Oh, okay. We're getting a lot of glitchiness. Sorry, guys. Why can't I get my chief window back? Huh, weird. Alright, we're having some latency issues. Let's see if we're back in live. Okay, we're live. Alright. Whew. This stuff's hard to set up, guys. I love interaction too, so throw me some, I don't know, likes or say great job or whatever. I love doing this for you guys, but it does feel like I'm talking to a blank wall sometimes. This is a weird culture we're in now. So welcome back to the feed. Let's get back into this. Our library browser, let's see if it's still intact. It is. Here we go. We got Mel's poll. We lost the plan we were working on. Let's open that up. We're in the right version. Great. I'm going to back off the mic. It seemed really loud. Okay, working plan view and pull a camera view. It's nice when we're on, not on live feed. It just kind of gives you an example of how much we cut out of a feed, right? Like we would have just cut all of that out. Cut, edit, crossfade into the next scene. So because we're live, we got to do, we got to just work with these hiccups. Here we go. Let's see what this did. What did we do? What did we create here? Look at that. So we already know two things just by placing this handle. Look how goofy that is. We know one, we need to rotate about the, Z-axis, and then we also know that Chief created an automatic offset. So get back into the library, open our symbol, let's get rid of that offset. How funny. It actually didn't create an automatic offset, which means we need to make an offset. So here's that, we got a 9-inch height, okay. All I did there was select, grab it, and guess what I'm going to do here? RZ position, I'm going to paste that height, okay? And we'll see what happens. You see, it jumped up like that, okay? And then let's divide this by 2. Divided by 2. There we go, jump down a little bit, and then let's make it a negative. Now we're placing center of this symbol. Now what happens when we rotate? There we go, rotating the Z. Let's just press OK. Guess and check, guess and check, guess and check. Stick and move. There we are. Now what's Chief doing, right? What is Chief doing? Because look where it's placed. It's placed in kind of a funny place, right? So let's go discover this. Up from bottom. Door handle is up from bottom 11.5 inches. Now why the heck is that? That's because that existing symbol is kind of set up weird, right? Let's go look at a vertical bar pull. So we can do that core again, or, well, we do want core because we don't know where she got that symbol from. And we know that the core symbol should be as accurate as possible. So here's a bar pull handle. Let's edit this one. Look at this, what happens when it's 11.5 up. And let's go, like, let's look at this symbol. Show it in browser, and then we can see how Chief works, right? There is no offset here. The bottom of this bar pull is at the bottom of the symbol itself. So whatever bar pull she had in there before, and let's back out, let's Control Z it out, had a weird offset on it. So what do we want for our offset? Well, I kind of want my offset to be in line with Chief's symbols. So in fact, I don't want a Z offset. I want this at the bottom. That's exactly where it should be. So when I place this and replace it, now I know that I know the bottom of this bar pull, I want it only to be up like, what, 1.5 inches, something like that. There we go. That looks right, right? So created a symbol, kind of modified the symbol, making sure that it works correctly. Needed to rotate it because it was drawn in a funny plane. And we could have fixed that from the get-go. We could have been perfect all the way through without having to modify any of the symbol edit properties. One more thing I want to do about this, actually there's two more things. One is we're going to open this symbol up and we're going to make sure under the sizing plane, here's the main thing that I want to do. I want to create a bunch of different symbols from this symbol that are all different heights, right? So here in my height plane, this one's a simple one. The style of this bar pull is really simple, which means that all I need is one single stretch plane, and I can do that 9 divided by 2 again if I don't feel like doing the math. And there we go. I need that one single stretch plane. It's a really simple symbol to fix here. And what do I get to do from there? Well, I can duplicate it. Let me duplicate it. Let me open the object. And now I'm going to specify that this particular one is 7 inches tall. Look at that. Bam. And then we're going to make sure that we're naming it, right? So the second thing that I wanted to do here, here's 7 inch. Before I duplicated it, so let me delete that. Sorry if I just yelled in your ear. The mic on this thing's a little all over the place. Before I duplicate it, I tell people this all the time. When I'm doing training, I tell people this all the time. You want the most robust, powerful library you could possibly imagine. Make sure that you come up with a system before you start establishing your library. And I know a lot of us, maybe who are watching this, are coming at this after years of messing up our library, having to be all over the place. Come in here, come up with a system, and then stick to that system. Adjust it on the fly. As you use a symbol, conform the symbols that you're using in your plan back to your library, and make sure that you put in search attributes. Make sure that you do it. It's the only real opportunity you can do it without having to do a bunch of bulk edits that take forever. So this is when I'm going to do RD pull. If you have any symbols from me going forward from X-13 on, anytime you want to look something up with a keyword, it's going to have RD in the front of it. RD bar. There we go. Which means rapid design bar, rapid design pull. That means I edited this symbol at some point, and if you like my symbols and you like the quality of my symbols, you're going to type in RD before you hit anything, and you're going to find that it really narrows your search parameters down and kind of differentiates my stuff in the user library from other people's stuff. So here we go. Then regular bar, regular pull, any other cabinet handle, etc., etc. Whatever you want in those keywords, make sure that you do it. Now duplicate it over. Now it's way easier to duplicate it over. Rename this sucker 7 inch. Right, and then go in and edit it. And now it's a 7 inch pull. And what happens when we drop it in? There we go. Drops down right from where it should, which is it places it from that bottom of that symbol. Pretty simple to edit this out. Now, same concepts apply for what we just did there, will apply for this particular section here. So I like working in new plans. It helps me just clear the air and think. So I'm going to place this 7 inch pull. It's going to want to place it, well, you see the icon that changes from the mouse there. It places it as something a little bit different. What are we going to do? We're going to edit the symbol in place. I want to edit the symbol in place. It's still, by the way, check this out. If we add it to library right now, what does it come in? Millis pull 7 inch. If we look up our search attributes, what happens? All those attributes still are there. They carry with. So when they're placed in plan, they're still there. Pretty cool, right? So here we go. I want to edit this. By the way, we forgot one thing. Oh, I forgot one big major step here. And now I need to edit two symbols at once. And this is a problem, and this is why you get sucked into a big thing here, is what do I want to do? This is turned incorrect. Generate block. Look at it, fixed that block. It fixed that block. It also created additional available CAD blocks. And I want to talk about that too. Open symbol, generate block. Now that I've done that, that previous block is no longer good to me. I don't want that previous block. And in fact, we'll get to that right after we edit this. So edit this symbol on the symbol level. By the way, there's two kind of classifications for these things. Right now what is selected is not only is it a symbol, but it's also a component. Okay, it's an architectural component to Chief Architect, which actually dually classifies as a symbol. So we have a symbol classification, edit level menu, and then our component level, edit level menu, right? So I want to edit this in the symbol level classification, and I'm going to rotate it. And we're going to turn this into a bar pull. And what am I going to rotate it in? We want to rotate it in, I believe, the X plane. See, this is the X plane right here, so we want to rotate it down. Or is it the Y plane? Y plane, haha, I was wrong. And so we've got this. We've got this done. What are we going to do next? You guessed it, in the 2D block. Let's generate that 2D block. Let's make sure that 2D block looks correct. Press OK. Now we can add it to the library to test it out. Let's do that. And then replace this, right? There we go. Now we do, in fact, like if we look at this, let's open this symbol up. In our 3D panel, look at where, this is new, by the way, to X-13. We can see these X, Y, Z coordinates. We can see our origin point, right? Our origin point is placing off of the furthest most point on the Y-axis, which is what you want, right? That's typically what you want when this is going to be attached to a slab door. What happens when we're attaching to a door like this? Like, how do we figure this out? Well, if you've got a particular door style that you use over and over again, maybe we can get it close, or we could get it dead on the money if you needed to. If you needed to get this dead on the money, we could. It's pretty easy to figure this out. All we're going to be doing is pulling a section camera right through the center of this guy. Boy, if you're not getting a ton of information from this particular video, I don't know what to tell you. You're a master. Okay, so what happens when we pull the section camera? We should get a section cut right through the center of these doors, but in fact, here's a gripe that we catch a lot of, is we only get so many section cuts from Chief, right? So the next part, well, and also I'm not in a vector camera. Here's a vector camera. So we're not going to get a section. We're not going to get the snap points to this particular inset here. And so we do, in fact, need to do CAD detail from view in order to get that snap point, in order to figure out what that offset is with certainty, right? With absolute certainty, in which case I'm going to draw a CAD line, pop it over here, hit tab, and grab this. It's a 3/4 inch inset, which seems very odd. That seems very odd, but that's a big inset. Actually, this is the frontmost face here. So here's what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw this from here, and look, because I clicked here, we see that we've got an endpoint and a midpoint snap line there. So an inference snap, hit tab. It is 3/4 inch inset according to this. Feels wrong, so I'm going to just double check it. There we go. That's the actual length. I left the CAD line there. Now I can grab the actual length. That's the actual offset. So now I want to make sure that these horizontal bar pulls have that inset, because this is the type of drawer that I'm going to use for the most part. So what do we do? Open symbol. What are we going to modify this in? The Y plane. We're probably going to put a negative. Blink, blink, blink. And double check where that is. In fact, it gave me the wrong direction. Let's do this. Chief, by the way, automatically truncates this, right? It rounds it up, rounds it down, rounds it to the nearest whatever. Sometimes that depends on your, not number style, but your dimension style. But anyways, that's the closest to 3/4 of an inch. But we actually did, even though this says 3/4 of an inch, it did actually offset the exact amount. Now that we have this offset, now I can come in here and place this, and look at that. It's actually going to be recessed too far into the cabinet. Too far into that cabinet. Oh wait, no. No, it's dead on the money. Look at that. Dead on the money. This is just an ugly pull, Melissa, and you should probably abandon it, because who can fit their hand in that? No one can fit their hand in that. Little baby hands. What is going on here? Let's check this out. I mean, this is taking this above and beyond. I'm going to make her fix this kind of stuff, but we can see here that our offset, you know, they do the offsets. Let's see. What do we got going on? What's happening here? Door drawers. Drawer handle. 7-inch. One handle centered. It's calling this the center of the drawer, huh? That's interesting. There's an offset in that actual drawer? That's strange. This is when you can go in and kind of override things. So we've got this drawer selection. We can specify our hardware offset. Distance from the top. And then maybe it's, I don't know. We get a very small preview window. You have to expand that to get it any larger. Would be nice to get a section cut on this. I'm not going to lie. That would be nice. That'd be a cool little edit. 4 inches. Now that looks like it's in the center. High level editing here. There we go. And look how much time that takes. Do we really need that kind of a representation? Hey, you know what? Sometimes you do. Sometimes you're on an upper level of design where everything needs to be exact. It needs to be an exact representation of what you're actually building. So I get it. So the answer here, kind of to the quandary of can we, stretch these hardware symbols? Not really. Not really. If you're going to, in fact, have them auto-placed on the cabinet, what's the thing that we could do that would be different from that? Yeah, you could actually place it on the ground arbitrarily and then place it on your cabinets and use your multiple copy and do it that way. I don't particularly love that, but you could do it that way. And you can see here the bounding box is much different from where the symbol representation is, and that's because we've got that offset. So that's when you actually don't want an offset. If you wanted to place this handle arbitrarily and then hand place this stuff, I mean, you got to be talking about a pretty custom kitchen at that point. Very expensive to do that much detailing. But if this is a bar pull you use over and over again, maybe it makes sense to edit it. So there's the methods. I think that kind of closes this out. I feel like we got some heavy hitting info on this one, and that's pretty fun. I know on one of my other videos that I posted, we got into the whole Z-Wave craze. I'm into the Z-Wave craze, the smart home stuff. How are you guys wiring these smart homes, and how are we integrating these systems into Chief? I know I want a video on that. I'm going to probably bring some more videos on that. Help me out here. I'd love to know more about what you want to see in these videos. I want this to be an active place where you come and interact with me, because I want to learn from you. You guys learn from me. Awesome. We're a team. The other part of these videos is, look again, shameless plug. I have a YouTube channel. I have a website. I have a Facebook feed. I am a moderator on several Facebook feeds. I'm in the Chief Doc forums. I talk to some of the developers at Chief. Love these guys. I love this whole team. I love this whole culture. I'm shocked that more architects aren't using this software for as efficient as it is. I'd love to get it more exposure, and I'm happy to be the face of some of this stuff. So, want to hear more from you. I'm on a path of needing to create a curriculum for you guys. I'm also on a path to creating a bunch of symbols. So you have some symbol ideas. I want to hear them. And they have to make sense, right? Like, these are symbol ideas where everybody's going to utilize them, and they can't be copyright infringing. We want to touch on symbols that are kind of a universal use. They're place marker symbols. They're high-level material edits, right? So hit me back. Leave some comments on this feed. Leave some comments on this Facebook feed if you're getting that. If you're catching this through my YouTube channel, awesome. feel free to comment on the YouTube channel. I respond to all my different social channels. I'm on Instagram. I'm on all these places. So communicate with me. Love to hear from you. Thank you for watching. I'm sure there's probably some questions here. I'd also love to see you guys try out some of the stuff we did in the first part of this video. So check it out. Come back to me, and appreciate you watching. Thank you. And I don't know how to end. I'm going to talk every